60 years old now. Why am I still involved in skateboarding? And the principal reason, because it's fun.
People watching the show are going, Livingston, world famous. Livingston, it's a shithole in the middle of it. Scotland, you know, it's Central Belt. You know, I drive past it, I never get off the motorway. But, you know, as far as skateboarding is concerned, you can go any corner of the earth and you mention Livingston, they go, oh yeah, whew, that place looks good, yeah, I want to go there.
They go to Spain and they're like, Ecos, Livingston, and you're like, how can you know this? Do you know what I mean? You're from Palma.
I'll say this park's the best in the world, and I've travelled around and seen a few of them.
It is sort of completely world renowned, and you have people like John Cardale saying it's like it is the best place to skate I've ever been, and that kind of has to stand for something, I think.
Livingston Development Corporation.
I wonder if you can help me. I'm trying to find out something about Livingston Newtown. You know, housing, job prospects, that kind of thing.
That's what we're here for. Why don't you come down and see us?
Don't remember actually moving to Livingston, but the first estate built in Livingston didn't even have a local pub. You know, the builders actually had to build the pub once they moved into the estate. You know, so it was pretty much not thought out when they started building the place. It's surrounded by industrial estates. You've got to take a drive around yourself and see it. You know, it serves one purpose, you know, as a farm, to feed these factories with employees, which unfortunately now they're all closing them.
Some people would say Livingston was a bit of a concrete jungle, but I liked it. You could walk the streets of Livingston, they didn't have any trouble with getting attacked or violence. There was a lot of green spaces. At that time my children were just growing up, they were young, so I would roam the streets and byways and pathways of Livingston with feeling this pram. The Livingston Development Corporation were very amenable to new projects. So I talked to them, said, how would you like to be the first town in the UK with a genuine skateboard park? It really all kicked off back in '76 when I was in California on business with my then firm Hewlett Packard, and it was just the start of the big skateboard thing in America. I picked up a magazine from one of the racks in one of the newsagents in California, and had a picture of Waldo Autry carving a vertical side of a swimming pool, and it was sort of eyeballs popping out of the. And I thought, wow, that looks really good. So that's what kind of kicked it all up on.
Kids, skateboarders, whatever, they just want to skate. They don't really want to spend much time designing skateboard parks or building things. They just want to go skateboarding, which is fair enough. And it was always older people who would get involved in it, like Kenny Oman, and make something happen.
Way back in the late 70s, the average age in Livingston was about 24. So, in fact, there was really no resistance at all. It's a very positive thing for youngsters to do.
Up until then, we'd been skating Kelvin Grove up the road here, which was a 70s skate park and had quite a lot of glitches, and it was still a good skateboard park for us, but there was a lot of problems with it.
Design was a sort of a melange of ideas from all the skateboarders from all over the place.
Kenny really did his research well. He went out and he, you know, took different elements from different places and he put it all collectively in one. And he even had the vision, I don't know if he meant it, but to leave enough space that it could expand.
It was coming up for the winter in November, so everybody really got stuck in, shoveling concrete, troweling, so everybody put a hand to it.
I didn't know actually it was a skate park that was getting built. I thought it was in a car park. I mean, a friend came down. It was just a building site and a great place to run about. When you're 10, you know, mud, puddles, wheelbarrows and scaffolding. It wasn't until maybe a year and a half later I realised it was actually a place for leisure. You know, you could actually use it and it was something of use, you know, rather than a car park or another petrol station or a roundabout or something.
I first went to Livy when probably the first couple of days it opened, when it was officially opened. I was blown away by it basically. I mean, it was a pretty amazing thing.
It was built properly first time. There was years of planning, years of discussion, years of research going into it, and it was done right. And it was just faultless from day one.
Like, you've got Hampden and you've got Murrayfield and you've got St Andrews and Glen Eagles, and this skate park's on a par with them. It's a world-class thing to skate.
Purely sculpturally, it's really an amazing thing. I mean, I always kind of wonder what people who maybe are just walking around that area of Livingston and kind of happen across this thing. People must just be like, what the hell is that?
Park design's in two parts now because you've got the old and the new. And the old was built with a lot of American parks in mind, Del Mar, the Bowl of course. But the way it's been built is so that all the lines flow into each other.
The reason it's world class is it's got so many different dimensions and things within it. You know, it's got a pool, a half pipe, a reservoir, the new bit, banks, hips, lips, all these things. But they all combine so well together.
This is the wee bowl here, and even the Americans call it the wee bowl, so it's known around the world as the wee bowl. This is the half pipe here, and this area here is known as the reservoir. This was probably more by luck than anything else, but this little hip turned out absolutely perfect.
It says a lot of it's by mistake that everything works so well between the two sections of the park. But, you know, the guy's such an intelligent guy, it's just modesty behind him that's saying that.
There are times when I say I should be settling down and leading more sane life, doing some bird watching and digging the garden and things, but not often. The skate park here, it belongs to the kids. This is their territory. They make the rules, they don't have any boring old farts like me come along and tell them. They tell me how it runs. I ask them, how do you do that trick? You know, it's not like a traditional sport where they get the older generation will pass down their wisdom, so-called wisdom, to the kids. This is where I fall on my backside. Old guys like me just have to go along with it. I think it's rather good actually, because it really gives them a sense of responsibility and a pride of ownership.
Livingston for a lot of people is a springboard. I mean, I've got a lot of friends who were skateboarders and who skated Livy regularly, and they don't live there anymore. They don't live in Scotland anymore. They're all over the world. You know, some of them are surfers, some of them have got businesses all over the place, some of them have got skateboard companies. And Livy was one of the springboards that allowed that to happen. If Livy hadn't turned up, who knows what would have happened to some people, I guess. You know, it could be horrible. got to a stage where I was about 24, 25. Now, you can still skate at that age easily, but you've also got to make a living, and I found myself gradually stopping to skateboard and making a living. I worked in the theatre, which I didn't really want to do. I wanted to continue to skate. Then the whole skate competition scene gradually started getting bigger, and ramps started going up, and you could just see that more people were getting into it. And you know, from a business point, me and Davey both, you know, were talking together about setting up a skate shop, you know, trying to get into the business in order to continue skateboarding. So we set up Clan. We won the Reader's Digest Best Business of 1989. Glasgow Opportunities lent us the cash to get started, basically, to buy some stock, to open the shop, to, you know, all the stuff you got to do. Give us a business plan, took us through the whole thing, and then they entered us into this national competition against all other businesses, you know, Pampered Pet Products and a whole bunch of stuff. And it was bizarre, you know, because we were just two skateboarders having a laugh. We did a phenomenal bit of business, you know, because we just basically hit the nail on the head. Skateboarding went crazy, and we were right in the position to sort of benefit from that to a certain extent. I've never gone into this business to make money as such. You have to make money if you're in business, there's no doubt about that, but I've always done it to continue to be able to ride snowboards, skateboards, surfboards, whatever. Nowadays it's mostly surfboards and snowboards, but originally it was purely to continue skateboarding. You know, you've got two choices. You either give up skateboarding and get a real job, or you get involved in skateboarding and hopefully it'll fund you enough to continue to skate and put something back into it.
Is it an art form, or is it a sport, or what is it? You know, it's a problem for so many people. But you know, you look at the shapes and the style of it. You know, you look at it. Of course, it's a work of art. It's beautiful, and then of course there's art plastered all over the thing. You know, all through the year, you'll see plenty of graffiti and paintings, murals. It's a social space, and therefore, of course, it's an art space.
Kind of alphabetical art form where, you know, most general people just walk by it and see it as, you know, rubbish or some kind of crazy modern art, but actually there's messages in the painting. It started off back in New York, people tagging, you know, and obviously wouldn't use their proper name, so to make up nicknames, sort of code names. And it was generally started in New York with competition, with rival gangs tagging each other's property in their territories, and it kind of evolved from that, making bigger and more colourful tags, painting trains. You know, the bigger, the more colours you got in it, it means that you spent more time actually doing it, so it was a higher risk of actually getting caught doing it. Under permission from the local council, and we were actually started collecting money from skaters, you know, by the tin to paint the skate park fund, because at the time, you know, the late 80s, there was a kind of crazy people painting football colours and different football related remarks, you know, basically bigotry remarks and stuff like that, and it was just pretty horrible looking, so we kind of injected a lot of colour into the place. It just seems to be more pleasing to the eye, because every part you look at is different. There's always something different to focus on rather than bare grey. You know, and in Livingston as well, in a whole, is quite a grey place if you live here, you know. But it looks really good like this now.
first went to the park in Livy in 1987, I think. We used to get the bus out maybe a couple of times a month, which was this kind of horrendous trek through all sorts of various sort of scorched earth towns on the way out there. That was always slightly nerve-wracking, but you'd always kind of travel in a big pack with your lunch in your bag and your board under your arm. You'd kind of end up there and you'd be so incredibly excited that you'd just have like the best day, and then you'd almost miss the last bus home. Skateboarding provides you with a kind of different perspective and a different way of looking at things. Kind of grew up street skating in Glasgow and found myself in all sorts of strange locations, and sort of in the sort of bowels of the Anderson Centre on a Saturday afternoon looking for something to throw myself off with sort of dozens of other children. So I think skateboarding will sort of put you in positions you would never have imagined being put in. I'm an artist nowadays as well. That's what I've ended up doing, and I kind of always say to people that I probably wouldn't be an artist if it hadn't been for skateboarding. My way of dealing with things has always been to sort of look at them and think about them in terms of interpreting them through visual means, I suppose. And I mean that happens in cities for me, in terms of looking at architecture, and like all my work pretty much now relates to architecture and ideas of architecture, and how you can understand how the world works through basically looking at things like buildings or sort of structures, and draw out meaning sort of in terms of reasons for these things being there. Bringing it back to the idea of Livy, I mean, I had very little kind of experience of places like that. I mean, learning in sort of geography at school about the motivation behind the idea of kind of new towns, and then actually finding myself in places like Livingston or Cumbernauld, looking for things to skate, actually kind of taught me a lot about the structure of Scotland, I think.
Dreams or whatever become reality sometime, you know. I mean, and now Toby's this famous artist, you know, and he's still talking about skateboarding, you know what I mean? He's not, you know, it's continuity, you know, everything keeps on going and coming back in itself and spinning off.
What makes Livy special? In recent years, watching Stuart,
My friends from school and that are just dull bums and that, so I reckon I'd probably be along on that list. Probably just be another young bum on the streets, probably, I reckon. If it wasn't for my plank, if it wasn't for my stick, I'd be lost, completely lost. First time I dropped in a ramp, Kenny was holding both my hands. I was only 6 years old and I was like this tall. My board was like chin size with me, and ever since then I've just properly just been into it all the time. Found it pretty hard at the start just because I was a young kid and I was always hurting myself, but after like the first year or two I was just not immune to pain, but just got completely used to falling on concrete. And after 14 years, like, I don't know, it's funny, I'm like a stuntman. People say it's like a stuntman job, like, but just kind of bounce around on concrete. Normal people would take it so bad, but I don't know, trained up to it, I guess. First time I got sponsored, I was 12. I was sponsored by Osiris Shoes, Dope Clothing, Focus Skate Shop, Rookie Skateboard, Richter Wheels, Independent Trucks. Getting a proper company behind you is quite difficult, but once you get one company, it's quite easy because the rest of them kind of squabble over you then. Been to Barcelona, Sweden, Ireland, everywhere possible in the UK. The amount of friends I've made, it's unbelievable. Like, I could just go pretty much anywhere and call someone, get a place to stay for the night. So amazing just for stuff like that. Brilliant.
Scottish skateboarding's different to skateboarding in the rest of the world as well, because you've got to deal with the weather and the fact that you're not in LA, you're not even near London, so there's nothing cheap and there's nothing easy about skateboarding in Scotland, and it's brought me up how I am, and you know, it's the least I can do is to keep participating and taking part in some way. The Livingston Pure Fun Skateboard Parties existed as long as Livingston has, and it's a tradition, and you know, traditions are there to be sort of maintained.
Any Slipknot or Limp Bizkit?
Any
things going up?
They left the building earlier. They're long gone.
So what?
Film him. How good is he? Not your typical skateboarder. He rules. There's Livy Pure Fun for you right there in the rain. We're just using him to dry up the concrete. When I was coming here in the early 90s and so on, you know, it was really desolate and cold, and I knew enough people that had a PA, or I knew somebody that could do this or could get a megaphone, or we could organise it. It would make it more fun, and you know, I knew enough people that skateboarded down in London that worked for skate shops or whatever that I knew I could phone around and get a bunch of prizes and make, you know, the Pure Fun Skate Party pure fun again.
It's called the Pure Fun Skate Party, and it purely is just fun. You know, there's maybe a lot of drinking going on, you know, a lot of boisterous activity, you know, carry on, but there's no harm being done.
Last year was particularly good because I had someone from every continent in the world, maybe other than Antarctica. But you know, the important people at the Livingston Fun Party are the people from Scotland. You got a big group of people coming from Aberdeen, a big group from Dundee, a bunch from Glasgow, and then all the periphery little towns that have little skateboarders that, you know, don't go to any other event. They all flock towards Livingston. It's difficult to estimate how many people are here, but over the whole weekend, I'd say, you know, it's easy 1,000 people. That sounds like I'm being, you know, when I think about it, nah, there's not 1,000, but I think about it, there probably is. By the way, that thing about booze, no, your kids are fine, they're all right, send them, it's good for them. It's good, it's better than the Scouts. Learn more. Have you got enough booze there, Nicky?
Into the car park, it's like, oh, this is really, here we are, this place is, and every time I arrive I still kind of can't quite believe it's there.
Kenny's definitely the overlord. He set up the park, designed it, kept the atmosphere, the scene, the vibe going for years and years, so he really is the man who's created it all. His majesty is over everything here.
We should build a statue of Kenny Omond gazing over the Livy Skateboard Park.
He's done it for everybody. Do you know what I mean? This whole place is pretty much Kenny.
It's kind of the only last thing remaining to actually go up and shake his hand and say thank you for Livy.
So I think a wee statue, not a very big statue, just a wee statue, but you know, would be alright. You could have that.
You get on that little board and you feel that wind whizzing through your hair, and you've got that little bit of frisson of danger where you do the wrong thing, you're going to fall off and you're going to get skin your knees or get hurt. Most of the adults, they really don't, are not privy to this big secret that it's one of the most fun things you can do with your clothes on.
Loving it, loving the Livy life.
Skate or die.